Kramer. This is my better half.
Don Kramer. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good evening like we are.
Absolutely. And, I don't know about anybody else, but I've been fighting with my technology all day. So it just continued into tonight. So we apologize for bringing this on a little bit late. But, we are so excited and so honored to have a special guest with us here tonight, Mitch Webb. And Mitch is all about helping people to live their best life. And boy, I know you got some story to tell here in terms of why helping people to calm their nervous system is so important to you. Please introduce yourself, Mitch.
Well, thank you guys so much. It's a privilege to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on, despite our technology challenges. But yeah, nervous system health is so important to me because I had anxiety for that's why I got into health. I started having panic attacks, and I remember going to the doctor, and then I was telling him, hey, I'm getting shortness of breath, like I'm in public, something I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin. I'm not sleeping at night. And he wrote down on a piece of paper, you have anxiety. And I'm like, what is that? So it was so foreign to me. And it's quite the motivating force, right? Like I wanted to look for answers, and that began my journey of end up, becoming a health coach and eventually getting excited about the nervous system, which I think is where a lot of this dysregulation leading to activation and is coming from. And so I'm excited to chat about that and share that with people. And it certainly has changed my life over these last 2 years that I've been diving into the research, the theory, and, applying that on my own.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good reason to get involved in all of this is you needed to figure it out for yourself. And it sounds like I'm betting you probably tried some things in traditional medicine before saying there's got to be another way. Is that the case?
Oh yeah. I mean, gosh, you name it. Magic pills, potions, pharmaceuticals, different protocols. You and I have had quite the conversations about different rabbit holes that we've been down in the health world and all the fun things that we've learned along the way. But yeah, I mean, as far as Western medical goes, I would say that kind of failed me and left me searching for, answers that serve me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and I heard you use the term dysregulation, and I had not heard that term before. That's why I was kind of asking you earlier. I said, gee, I didn't know you were so technical. And you said, I didn't know I was. But help people understand, what do you mean when you're talking about dysregulation?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, dysregulated nervous system would be a nervous system that's not able to regulate itself. And so, we've got people have heard of, sympathetic activation, fight or flight. And then there, people, we talk about rest or digest, which would be the parasympathetic. And, what we don't talk about a lot is the different branches of the parasympathetic nerve, which would be the dorsal branch. And so you've got high and low tone dorsal in that branch. And then you've also got a ventral branch. So the ventral is more like social connection. That's the branch that we want to be in. That's the relaxed, feel good, creative, flowy. And the high tone dorsal, which is less talked about, is more like a functional freeze. And to let you know what that is, that's when we have, so if we imagine we've got like our window of tolerance, that's where we feel really good and are able to be with our emotions. We don't feel too overwhelming, feel like ourselves. And when we get outside of that window of tolerance into some more higher activation, that would be where we feel things like anxiety. And anxiety is normal, and we all have that, panic, and even hitting really high levels of terror sometimes. But when that is prolonged and our nervous system perceives a threat that's not going to end, then it a protective mechanism, the high tone dorsal branch of the parasympathetic nervous system comes and put a clamp on that really high activation to preserve us from blowing out our adrenals or depleting energy. It's trying to save us. And so that shutdown, it's kind of like an animal going and playing possum, right? So it's playing dead. And when we learn to do that over and over again, and say, as a young adult or as a child, that shutdown, that freeze, it becomes our default mechanism, and it gets stuck. It's kind of like taking a plastic bottle and putting it in an airplane. Everything just kind of crinkles, and so all the systems that are affected with the nervous system, it's a lot of them. So your hormonal system, your thyroid, all that stuff. So that's where functional freeze and collapse is what that would be. The playing of the possum. That's where we get disease. That's where we get a lot of the things that I dealt with. Autoimmune, just disease, like different diseases of autoimmune. The anxiety, different. Just all the funky diseases that we don't know what have explanations for, and we give them all these labels that basically mean I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
dysregulation is to answer your question. Dysregulation is just like being stuck. So we're stuck in too much activation. We're stuck in shutdown. We're outside of our window of tolerance, and we don't. It's like, for me, learning this now, it's like it's just not as human. It feels less human when we get in that level of what a window of tolerance. It feels just to that's like survival mode, as if we're dysregulated. We're fighting for our life. That's no time to love and have a good time and enjoy yourself. That's the house is on fire. And so being dysregulated is just being stuck and not being able to resource to get ourselves back down to a more level state, homeostasis, window of tolerance.
Wow. So I'm sitting here trying to process in words that I would be more used to in all that you've just said, because I think that I heard you talk about, if we have a traumatic event, the stress of that trauma gets trapped. It like freezes in our body. And then that trauma becomes the basis for a whole lot of different diseases. Is that what I just heard?
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's like it's like procedural. They're called like procedural memories. Like, think of like it just didn't get to complete, and that's because society says that it's not appropriate, right? So say there's a famous clip of this bear, and they're chasing it with a helicopter to put a you've probably seen this, and they shoot it with a you seen this? You know what I'm talking about? The tranquilizer dart? No. So they shoot this bear with a tranquilizer dart. It's running for its life. There's a freaking helicopter behind it, and then it gets tranquilized, and they do research on it, and as it starts to wake up from the medicine or whatever, it finishes its procedural memory. So it's running.
Wow.
And it goes into a very high state of activation because it's aware of the human that's around it. And then it completes that process of running, fighting, and then it starts breathing real calm and easy again. Because it completed the activation. So as humans, we don't get taught to complete the activation. We're taught the activation is bad and we got to numb it and medicate it.
Oh my goodness. Well, and that reminds me of something one of our chiropractors used to talk about. They used to say that emotion is just energy in motion. And when we stop that motion from continuing, then that's when we get in trouble. And it can lead to pain and autoimmune and so many other things. And I can't even imagine. I know you have a long list of things that it can create.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you could just rattle them off. You know what I mean? Like, I think the more I learn about it, I think it's disease, man. Disease in the body, and it's like it's passed down through generations. It's not like it's just a this lifetime kind of thing. That's why families say we have this in our DNA. There's just trauma in our DNA. There's not cancer doesn't flow through families like that. Generational trauma does, and it may show up like that.
Yes.
And it's like you said, it's the consistent abandonment of self for whatever, to please others, to be a part of the crowd, to fit in, whatever that is, whatever we
Mhm,
were
mhm.
modeled and learned, taught growing up.
Whew, and I can imagine, here we are as we come into the holidays. I can imagine that if people, some people have lost loved ones during the holidays, some people have had family fights during the holidays. I mean, all of those things that can get brought forward with you, that the holidays can then, I'm imagining, become like a trigger that can start all of these emotions all over again. Is that a fair assessment?
Get out of my head. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, what is it that Ram Dass says? He says, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your family, So
I'll fix you.
That'll, yeah, you'll soon learn where all of the things are that where you have room for improvement, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, one of the things I'm really curious about, and I'm sure those who are end up watching this would be curious as well. Can you describe about some of the different kinds of tools and techniques that you use to help people, to release this stuff so it can get out and stop causing them with the anxiety or the depression or whatever it is they're dealing with? What kind
Yeah.
of tools are you using these days?
Well, my business, it's a constant pivot. It's me learning to apply what I'm working on in myself, and then sharing that with others. And what started off as nutrition and exercise and movement, and I would say biohacking and detox, and really moving into more of the emotional stuff. And now here with a real big highlight of the nervous system and how the nervous system dysregulation. I was always looking for the root cause, and for me certainly, and I think for so many, these autoimmune anxiety, gut issues, sleep, stuff like that, panic attacks, these mystery illnesses that don't seem to get better. I think a lot of that is nervous system dysregulation. And, so now when I work with clients, I'm always about meeting them where they're at. And, I think sequential steps or coming in with an agenda, you completely miss the moment, and misattune to the person. And, likely coming from you're projecting, or it could be an ego thing. And it's really about meeting you where you're at and understanding where you've been and what's working and what's not, and where you're trying to go. And from there, it's just making that fit for the individual. So if I've got someone who's fatigued and anxious and their guts off, well, they may not feel like they have this nervous system work takes energy, and so they may need to prepare for that, and that may look like finding a diet that's not bombing their gut and causing a lot of inflammation, and getting on something that's a little bit more supportive. So it's like getting the gasoline and the fire out of there and getting something that works and that we can stabilize on. And maybe that's doing a bit of detox along the way. Everybody's diet's going to be the same, not the same, excuse me, like a same approach, but long term, it's eat as much healthy food as you can, whole foods. But if we're coming in with a compromised gut, we got to take a different approach. It also may be like looking at the home environment and detoxing that. We can't live in a dirty fishbowl and expect to heal. So we got to get out the fragrances and the EMFs and the Wi-Fi's at nighttime. We're going to bed, maybe popping on some of these blue light blocking glasses when we're looking at screens all night. So circadian rhythm health is a big thing for me too. So that looks like grounding and earthing, and which is the same thing, but grounding and checking out this, getting sunlight in the morning, blocking light at nighttime. So getting our circadian rhythms on board, getting some good minerals in there. The foundational stuff. Are you sleeping? How are you managing stress? What's that look like now? And from there, that's when we start to educate about the nervous system, and we go over the basics, and it's all about titration and going at your own pace. And, this stuff takes time. And so we try to support the body from every angle that we can as we continue to work to this bigger goal of nervous system regulation. And along the way, we learn to, resource and internally resources, and that's building our own capacity to be with to intensity to intense sensations that we've really avoided in our body. So unpacking that that shutdown, that activation that we were talking about earlier, in a very, very slow way. And over time, really just building out a lifestyle that's conducive for you and allowing you to listen to your own inner voice. It's not me telling you what to do. It's me teaching you how to listen to yourself so you can be your own medicine. Like, I for so long, I thought somebody was going to come rescue and heal me. And I learned that it's all in here. It's all inside of us. And when you learn how to listen to that, it's just, when we have trauma, we're dysregulated, we can't listen to that intuition. And there's a lot of noise out there to distract you when you're sick and when you're not feeling your best. And it's a lot of relying on external things, and I'm more about giving people to be their own resource and heal themselves. And, after 20 years of doing this, I feel very confident that I can show someone how to do that for themselves. I don't feel like I'm doing anything. It's we give our power away, and we don't understand what we're capable of until we can see it, and then once you can see it and you start to build that self-trust in yourself, then you can move mountains with that stuff. So that's what I'm about. It's just empowering people and helping people heal. Yeah.
I love it. Well, it sounds like you are a good facilitator, and it sounds like you've got an incredibly whole person approach where you're looking at all these different pieces that you've learned about through your own experiences, and oh my goodness, helping more people to start to tune in and listen to that inner guidance. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a big piece for so many people. And the other thing that just popped into my head, I know you've been out doing some rather intensive training recently, because I know we missed you at our event because you were out doing some kind of training. Can you share anything about that recent addition to the work you're doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the nervous system work. That's the mentorship with Irene Lyon, and it's nervous system healing. We call it like sci-intuitive, because it's blending intuition. That's really what a lot of that is. What she's teaching us is intuition, how to listen to that inner voice and share that with others. And it's science and it's theory, and it comes from she's really special. Irene is something else, man. She's has done Feldenkrais, which is a form of movement. That's like different doorways into the nervous system, and really good for rewiring the brain and building capacity and regulating the nervous system. And then there's polyvagal theory. That's when I'm talking about activation and fight, flight, freeze, and window of tolerance. That's that theory that's coming from oh man, I'm blanking on his name. But then there's somatic experiencing. So that's a form of trauma release that's dealing with the body. So you've got, top down, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, psychology, things like that. That's really through the mind. And, for someone like me, I think it has its place and it can help change behaviors and things like that, become aware of ourselves. But for me, I'm an intellectualizer, which is actually a trauma response. It's like, if everything feels so intense below my neck, I go into my head to think my way to safety. And by, thinking my way to safety, it's or controlling situations, of thinking of every outcome and planning and prioritizing, being the optimal space and the biohacking stuff that like sucked me up, because I could just control the crap out of things. And, that really is we're leaving the rest of the body, everything below the neck, we're not paying attention to it. And so this bottom up that's what changed my trajectory with with my trauma journey is when I started getting more into the body and feeling these things that I got really good at. You know, I just think a lot of things I did before were a distraction. It was just busy work, and thank God that I had those things when I had them, because those were resources that allowed me to feel safe and feel good. And but we start to identify with those things, and they completely take us out of our authenticity, and we're in survival mode. We don't even know it. We're shut down. We're on fight or flight, and it's got a lot of stuff that we packed in there. And this is an opportunity to get in there and to over time build that capacity and regulate. And yeah, it's I've been in this class for maybe 3 months. It feels like 3 years. I mean, it's just so much information and learning. It's I mean, it's a lot. It's involved. It's a privilege. I mean, it's an honor to be in it, and it's the group that we're creating is really cool. And like I said, Irene's really special, and a lot of people that she brings, her team and her bringing them to the table. It feels like we're creating something really neat, because this stuff is still like theory. It's brand new, but damn it if it doesn't work, boy. Like I tried so many things, and this is like the magic bullet for me, baby. So I just love sharing that with people. And you know, I was as anxious as I was. You know, I can't even tell you how much anxiety and insomnia. I mean, PTSD. You know, Lyme disease, mold, heavy metals, diabetes, overweight. I got the kitchen sink thrown at me, and you could have given me a million labels throughout the years. And thank goodness I had, you know, doctors that were open-minded, and well, I found those doctors, and eventually we could see that this is a trauma thing. And you know, I think so many people get misdiagnosed and mistreated, and you know, create stories that they're, you know, got to be sick forever. I was doing this for 20 years before I felt like I found, you know, what it is I need to get better. And it wasn't at all what I was looking for before that, you know.
It's
So
all
yeah,
good.
this
It's
is year
all
one. This
good.
is, you know, year 1 of 4, and hopefully, and yeah, I'm excited. This is awesome stuff. It's fun to learn.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we are excited for you. We're excited of how much that you have been able to reverse a lot of the things that you've dealt with over time. And I know you'll reverse some more before you all is said and done. And I know you also have a special offer to be able to share with folks as well. You care to tell people about that?
Yeah, I'm doing half off a session, and you know what a session looks like. Again, it's going to be for you, but we're going to spend some time, you know, understanding what's going on, and the goals that you have for yourself, and then what's like some low hanging fruit, something that you can implement right now that would be, you know, a big impact on your health and performance, and you know, definitely some nervous system education, potentially some somatic, you know, different exercises that we could do to guide you into your body, and potentially, you know, move in and out of different activations and feel different things in our body, and kind of start that relationship of the, you know, listening to your inner voice and communicating with that, once again. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And how can people reach
That's
you?
important.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Very
Yeah,
important.
mitchwebb.com is my website. There's a contact form on there, and you can find me on social media at kmitchwebb on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. So pop in, shoot me a DM, email, whatever, you know.
Awesome, awesome.
That's good.
Well, and we will get your full presentation out online as well. It looks like it's finally finished loading.
About halfway through.
Go figure, right?
But that's okay. We've enjoyed chatting with you, and you know,
Always
being
a
able
pleasure.
to ask some questions along the way as well. Because like I said, some of the terminology that you're using, I'm sure it's becoming second nature to you. But for me, I was like, "What's he saying? What did
Really?
So that's
Wow.
why I was happy to
Well,
be
I
able
like
to
it. That's good.
be able
That's
to
good
ask some
feedback.
questions.
That's good feedback, because I like to simplify things. I think I'm just excited to be using my new fun words. So
That's right.
I'll water it down a little bit, and so make sure it's more digestible. For if you're telling me that it's a little bit over your head, then Cheyenne's as deep as they go. So I don't usually get one past her. So I'll take that to heart there and rethink that a little bit.
Good deal. Good deal.
I
Well,
like that.
well, we thank you so much.
Hey, you know
for
the deal.
being
You know
here.
the deal. You can't
Yeah.
get one past her, can you?
We thank you for being with us tonight, Mitch, and we wish you a very happy holiday season. And we hope that you continue to find ways to beat the stress and help other people to do the same. Thank you so much.
Hey man, thank you guys.
All right.